Hey everyone, we are here with Cruz and I. We are going to discuss today a little bit about how to use AI to automate your processes. And today we are going to show you how to pre-approve requests using AI. So the idea here is that you don't waste time reading all the requests that you receive, but you only uh, read the requests that at least the AI already pre-approved for you, so you can fast track these requests and then approve if it's the correct request to be made. And this actually came from a client that had this problem, and they asked us how can we use AI to incorporate our policies. We have lots of policies inside the company, and we want to use this using AI in our operations because it takes a lot of time. Our policies are really complex, and people don't really read it. So that's a way for them to just go there, submit a request, and it will also give you more details about the feedback about the request, if it was approved or not. And we are going to use this only no code, I believe here, correct, Cruz?
Uh, for this live stream, it's low code, but we
Low code,
are
okay.
also developing a no code way to do exactly this. So it
Oh,
will be even
great.
easier, but it's just to show you guys how the possibilities that you could do with low code, which is a little bit more flexible. But everything that you're seeing here will actually next week already be available through no code automations.
Nice. So tell more about this problem that we are solving here and the app that we just built for this specific solution.
Cool. So the idea here is just to have some kind of automatic pre-approval of requests, right? Because the problem that we're solving here is that most of the time companies have some guidelines, have some policies in place for specific type of requests. So you have like a request for time off, you have a request for like procurement, another one for reimbursements, and so on. But one problem is that most of the time you're going to receive a lot of requests that do not follow the guidelines. So people misread the document, or maybe they didn't even read it at all and try to submit a request. And one thing that happens is that the department that looks after this, they end up being flooded by requests that they're just going to be outright rejected, right? But this incurs into a lot of manual work. So you have to open it, you have to look at it, you have to compare it to the policy, see if it's valid or not, and then decide to approve or deny. So the idea here is to have a centralized part in which you have all of the policies. So you can write your time off policy, your procurement policy, and so on. And then you have the AI compare the request to the policy, to the relevant policy here, and pre-approve or automatically deny the request. And we're saying pre-approved because as much as AI is a powerful tool right now, it's never a good idea to rely 100% on AI, at least for now. It's good. It's a great way to um, make things a little bit faster. So it's very good at denying things that shouldn't be there, but you don't want the AI to approve a purchase that you shouldn't be approving, right? And even if it's mistaken like less than 1% of the time, you don't want that to happen. So what we do here is that we pre-approve through AI a request, and then you only look at the pre-approved ones, and then someone's going to approve or deny. So that's the idea, and you guys are going to see that it's quite simple. So let me show you the structure, and then I'm going to show you the code. I just want to give a heads up. This is not a coding live stream. The idea is just to show you guys how to do this. I'm not a developer. So the idea here is just to give you the general guidelines. The code could be more elegant, it could be better, but it's just to show you guys how I personally would solve this, and then you guys could apply it or change it or do something else entirely. It's up to you. So for structure, we have this app, and we have, first of all, let me show you guys the policies. So we have a policy list. here. So I have three policies here: time off, purchases, and reimbursement. And I have requests in which I have these policies as categories of the request, right? So, for example, if I request time off for Christmas, it's a time off request. So let me show you. So I have the policy here, time off, and then if I open the policy, I can see the document. And time off policy, time off must be requested at least 2 weeks in advance, or they will be automatically denied. So if I try to take time off tomorrow, that's against policy, so automatically I'm going to be denied. So let me get another example here for purchases. Let's open the purchases policy. So purchases can only be approved if the request is under $1,000. Also, it must pertain to at least one of the following. It's for acquisition of work equipment. It's for replacement of broken office appliances. So I can only replace appliances. I can never buy new appliances. Like I cannot have a second coffee machine, for example. I can only buy a new coffee machine if the previous one broke. And anything regarding software for work-related stuff. So, and I have reimbursements as well. Let's see it. So it's here.
And one thing that people don't know, because sometimes it's a little bit hidden there, the rich text field actually supports really long text. So here we only have a few lines, but if you have like a really long document with lots of policies, it would also work.
Exactly. So this is just an example policy, like guideline, so it's a little bit easier to understand. If we had like 10 pages of policies here, it would be very confusing for everyone to follow what's happening. So this is a very short policy, but it could be longer, of course. It's based on your own process, right? So for reimbursement, reimbursements can only be approved if the request is under $200. Also, it must be either travel expenses, office supplies, or things related to meetings with clients. So those are my policies, right? They're very simple. For this example, they're quite simple, right? So the idea here is that, let me close this. There you go. The idea here is that I could create a new request, right? And then I can choose something like it's reimbursement, and I want to be reimbursed for I don't know, gift for team members. Here's the receipt for, I don't know, $300 worth of, I don't know, gifts. So I don't know, notebooks and T-shirts. So you paid on your own, and now you're trying to receive a reimbursement for this. So I'm going to submit this. So as I submit this, this goes to new, and then what we're going to do is call the AI. We're using OpenAI for this, but it could be another platform or tool of your choice. And basically, it's going to send the policy and send the description, and you can see that it was already denied. It went to denied here. So if I click on this, it's also going to provide me with a reason, right? So it went to denied, and it gives me the reason. The amount exceeds reimbursement limit of $200, and items do not fall into the permitted categories. So it's not travel expenses, it's not office supplies, it's not meeting with clients. So you can see that as long as I keep submitting things and I'm very clear on the guidelines, the AI is going to just sort things automatically, and it's either going to outright deny it, or it's going to send it to pre-approved. So let's do something like purchases, coffee machine, and we need a new coffee machine. It's $100 because the previous one just broke. So I'm going to send this. It's going to go into new, and it's basically the same process. It's going to send this description and the policy for purchases to the AI, and it's going to decide something, right? So it went to pre-approved, okay? Because if I open this, The request for a new coffee machine aligns with the company policy of replacing broken office appliances, and it's also under $1,000. It didn't say that, but it usually compares, and that's the sort of comparison it's doing right now. So you can see that it's quite helpful, especially if you're receiving like 100 of these a day. I don't know, like, so you don't have to look at each one individually, and you can just look at the pre-approved ones and then decide if they are valid and if they should be approved or not, right?
Yes,
And we could.
and one thing that's important is like maybe people are a bit afraid also about the denied ones. But the thing is, if it was denied, maybe it was a mistake from the AI as well. However, you can send a message to the person saying like, just reapply your request following the guidelines, and then send the guidelines again. Because maybe the person was correct, but most of the times maybe they just didn't input enough information, or they were actually wrong. So there is no real risk on automatically denying something here, in my opinion, because they, in the worst case scenario, they just reapply. If it's important, they will reapply. And if you really trust AI, if you really want to go crazy with AI, you can just automatically approve it. It's just a stage there on our a step on our process, but we recommend you to just pre-approve. And you could even and we could do this later as well. You can add a button with approval, just approve, because then you can kind of see and read the request, and just go like approve, 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 approve. You don't need to just open the card, do everything again, analyze everything, and so on.
Exactly. So one thing that we have here is that not only are we automatically pre-approving or denying requests, but as we keep the reason for denying, right? So if I open this card, open this record, it's going to show me that this is the reason why it went to denied. So you could, for example, have an automatic reply to the person requesting, right? You could have an email that sends automatically, and it says your request was denied because of this, and then you have the reason. If you wish to reapply, if you disagree, reapply, and you send the link to them. So there's a lot that you can do here, but now I'm going to get into the automation itself. So it's going to be a little bit of low-code tips and also a little bit of AI tips, because we see that a lot of people struggle with understanding how to use AI efficiently. So it's a lot about how you ask things and what you um, ask as an output, as an answer. So I'm going to show you guys. So, okay, first thing that I want to say is you guys saw that the automation runs as soon as I create a record, right? So if I go here to automation, go to low code automations, if it's running as soon as I create a record, it's probably a trigger, right? The difference between triggers and functions is that triggers run based on events in a table, in a database. So when a record is created, when a record is updated, when a record is deleted. And functions are called whenever you want them, right? By external platforms, by other automations, and so on. So you can see that I have here AI policy, and uh, it's here, I think. Yeah, this is the automation. I'm going to explain it a little bit later, but I just want to show you guys. I'm going to edit this. You can see that the automation is going to run in the table AI requests, which is the table for requests, right? I can come here to the database. There you go. It's going to run there. For programming language, I'm using Python, and it's going to run after the record is created, right? So as soon as the record is created, as the request is submitted, I'm going to run this automation. Okay, so I'm going to do it from scratch, right? And then I'm going to explain each part of it. So let's create a new automation here. AI
Also,
approval.
you just recorded a few videos as well that are on our channel. just showing the first steps of using low code. So if anyone wants to understand how to create a generic process or how to start using low code tools, we have a few videos now that show you how to do a function, a trigger. Also, Fernando will walk through all the processes and show you a little bit more in detail about this specific section of the product.
Exactly. So let's create the automation. When I create a record in AI request, I'm going to run something in Python. So I'm just going to create this. Okay, so there are two things that I need now. So I'm using ChatGPT. So I'm going to need OpenAI's API. So you can find it just by searching OpenAI API reference. So this is the document that you're probably going to find, and this is the one that you need. The part that teaches you how to use ChatGPT, so ask something and get an answer back, it's this one. It's chat create chat completion. So it's going to tell you what's the endpoint that you have to call, which is this one, what type of call you need, which is a post, and what you have to send in the body of the call, and what you're going to get in response. I'm going to delve a little bit deeper into this later on. And the second thing that we need is that we're going to use mostly Python for this, but because we're using Jestor, there are some specific Jestor methods that you're going to need, like updating a record in Jestor. And we'll have this in our documents. So here we go, Python native methods. It's going to tell you all about the variables and the methods that you can use. Like Banak said, we have new videos that tell you about the variables, about methods, and so on. So cool. The first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to send a post call, right? Because this is what OpenAI is expecting. We have a native method for this, but I'm going to use Python's native requests because this is what most people are familiar with. But you could use Jester's native methods as well. And also one thing that I'm going to need is because I have where is it? Yeah, because I have requests that are dependent on time, so I have to compare the time of the request with like 2 weeks from now. I'm going to need the date of today, and for this we need two libraries here, two repositories. So it's requests, which is going to send the post call, and datetime, which will allow me to get today. So the first
Can you
thing
zoom
that
your screen a little bit just to make it
yeah,
easier to
sure.
read the code itself? Yeah,
Cool.
great.
So for the first part, first thing I imported this, which allows me to get the date today. So I'm going to use, and this is Python, right? This is not Jasper specific. So I'm going to add a line of code that's going to give me the date that when the automation ran, which is basically the date when the record was created, and give me this specific format, which is year, month, day, right? Okay, so just to get that out of the way. Okay, so like we said, for OpenAI, we have to send something to this endpoint. So we're going to save this as a variable. And for strings, it has to be between quotes. There you go. And also, we're going to need a token. Your OpenAI token, you're going to get this in your OpenAI account. We're not going to fill this in for now because we're recording. I'm going to do this off screen, but I'm going to save it into this variable here. Okay, so the next step, we have the where we want to send information to, and then we have the token. So if you look at the structure here, we have the requests, and then the request is connected to a category, right? And the policy itself is inside this category, right? So it's in this field here, policy. So I'm going to have to fetch this information. So I have the connection, but I have to fetch the information inside the record, right? And I'm going to do this with native methods of list records, which is basically a search, right? So I'm just going to copy and paste this and explain to you guys how what's it doing, right? So first of all, I'm going to define a filter. A filter is the conditions of the search. So I'm going to search for something that has these values, right? So I'm going to go. So first of all, I'm going to search in this table, which is the table for the policies. So I'm going to open this, just show you guys. So this is the table for policies. You can see here that I have a title, a policy, and so on. So if I click here on those three dots, I can go to API tables IDs, and I can get the ID for the table. So it's this one, and you can see that if I just paste it, it's the same information. So there, I'm going to search for the record that has the same ID as the one in the record that I'm creating, right? So if it's purchases, I'm going to search in this table for the record that has the same ID as purchases. So basically, I'm getting the record purchases. And this kind of search could get me more than one result, right? Not in this case because I'm searching by ID, but if I search, for example, for date, I could have more than one example. So after I perform the search, I'm going to get the first record. This is the position 0, right? And I'm going to get information inside policy. Okay, so now I have the policy. Now I'm going to create the object that I'm going to send to OpenAI. And the kind of object that I need, I have here an example, right? So it's this part here. So this part here. They're saying I have to send the model, I have to send a message defining what's the role of the system of ChatGPT and the role of the user, the message of the user. So I'm going to copy this. And this is where things get more interesting, and you guys are going to see this. So for this automation, I'm using the model GPT-4, which is the most current model for ChatGPT. And for messages, I'm telling ChatGPT, you are an AI trained to give simple answers strictly as requested. This helps because if you asking to be too open-ended, the AI may not give the answer exactly as you need it. So you have to be a little bit more strict with it. And this is one of the secrets of using AI, is that you have to know how to ask the questions. You have to instruct the AI. I need you to be exactly this. I need you to answer exactly like this. So you can restrict it a little bit more and get more predictable results, more useful results, right? So for the role of the user, I'm going to create the message, right? So the message is, today is, and I'm sending the date of the request, right? Because for time off, this is going to be useful. So please tell me if this request should be approved based on the company's relevant policy. The request is, and then I'm sending the request description, which is current data, variable description. This is in our documents, but we also have a video for this. So current data holds the record information. So this row here, when I created, this is current data, right? And I'm sending current data description. So I'm sending this information. This is the request, and the policy is, and I send to ChatGPT the policy that I've just fetched, right? Always deny if unsure, because sometimes instead of giving an exact answer, it would give like, there's not enough relevant information to analyze this. So I'm just telling it, all right, if you're not sure, deny it. So it's going to be a little bit more predictable, right? So this is about asking the correct questions. And also, I'm telling it the answer format must always be pre-approved or denied, followed by a dash and the reason for denial approval, right? So I'm telling ChatGPT exactly the format of the answer that I need and how it should analyze the policy and compare the policy. So if you're unsure, deny it. Always start the answer with pre-approved or denied, and then give me a dash and the reason for denying or approving. So this is what the most important part. If you have something to take away from this live stream, it's this bit of information. Always think about how you're going to ask AI these sort of questions, right?
And the nice thing about doing this on low code is that if you want to come here and just change it, because maybe you know a better way to do this prompting problem, you can do it. Just go there, change it, save it, and then the next time it will run with a new improved prompt. If it doesn't work, you just go back and do it again, with the same. And also you have versions here on local, so you can just come back and choose another version, fixing your problem if you made a mistake.
Exactly. So this is the object that I'm going to send to ChatGPT, and then all I have to do is send the request. So this is, like I said, a Python standard request, right? So it's going to be sending the information, and then all I have to do is break down the answer. So I'm going to get an answer and transform it into a JSON object. And then if I go to OpenAI's, where is it? Here we go. Response, it's this part here. It's going to tell me how it's going to respond, right? Where is it? Quick chat completion. Here. It's going to tell me how it's going to respond. So basically, I'll have to get the information inside the JSON. So it's inside the answer in the part choices, the first choice in the part message, get the content. So this is the path to the answer for ChatGPT. And then what I'm going to do is break down the information here, right? So I'm going to update the record itself, and then I'm going to split the answer with the dash. This is why I asked for ChatGPT to answer with pre-approved dash reason or denied dash reason, because I'm going to use this dash to separate the answer. So the status is going to be approved or denied. It's the first part of the split. And then the reason is going to be the second part of the split. So it basically breaks down the answer with before and after the dash. So this is basically it. So I could just save it. And now whenever I create the request, so if we think about what we did here, so I get like time off, and I say I need next Wednesday off. Just going to copy paste this for X reason. And I'm going to submit this. So if we think about what's happening now is it got the date of today. It's going to send this is the request, this is the reason, and it's already denied, and probably because we didn't give 2 weeks notice. Yeah, this request is less than 2 weeks in advance as per the company's time off policy. So this is basically how you would do this. Of course, you could have a little bit of a more elegant code or a little bit of more complex code, depending on the nature of the policies that you have. But this is basically the how I would personally build this. because in this way you can see here that I've already sent like more about 10 requests, and automatically I already have 5 of them off my table. The AI read the policy and said this is off policy, and it's going to automatically deny it. So I only have to work on these ones. So it's a huge time saver, and it's quite easy to set up as well. But also, like we said before, this specific automation is going to be coming to the no-code automations. So you're not even going to need low-code here. But the idea is that if you need to change something, this is the path to do it, right? So if you have a similar process, if you want to change it a little bit, basically, if you just retrace the steps that we just did, you could easily create a sort of different process using the same logic, right? So I guess that's it, Bruno. I don't know if you have any other questions or anything that you like to show everyone.
No, awesome. Like we are going to bring more of these examples for our users on how to use AI to automate the processes, because there are many applications here, and we are going to try to make it as easy as possible. As Fernando said, we'll soon release this as no code for you guys as well, and we are going to bring new templates for you, including this one. If you want to use this, it will be available, and then maybe you can even edit this to just change the automation and use the no code automation, that you don't need to go there to the low code and change everything and so on. So that's all for today, but we are going to be back next week with another live, probably about AI as well. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, and that will help us to just know that you guys like this kind of content, and will help us to just produce more and more videos that are useful for you. See you. Bye bye.